Hi there, my name is Moon and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the full moon in Virgo, the Virgo full moon, taking place on February 24th at 7:30 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. Ooh, this is going to be a big one, uh, in a good way. I'm really excited for this full moon because of the way it's helping us close out cycles that are no longer serving us and open up our power for actions and behaviors that are going to get us what we actually want in life and in love. Before we get into it, I am going to let you know that calendar sessions available for the end of February are and beginning of March are moving very quickly. I can't believe how fast we're getting to the end of the first quarter. It is the countdown time to eclipse season with our first major eclipse of the year taking place on March 24th and the one directly after it on April 8th. We also will have a major conjunction of Jupiter, Uranus, Venus, Sun, and Moon on May 8th. And these are some of the meatiest, most significant changes of 2024, with that major conjunction of Jupiter, Uranus being once in our lifetime in the sign of Taurus with Venus, the Sun, and Moon. We will be able to use these rather than getting pushed around by them when we understand how they fall in our chart. So if you're already feeling the shifting and you're wondering about your direction, your chart holds your divine blueprint and we can see what it says is next for you. You can book with me over at kmoonastro.com. Now, if you're new, welcome. I love to have newbies. You are welcome here. Stick with me until the end. I do a segment called First Look, which gives you highlights and my first impressions of the next lunation 2 weeks from now, so you know what's coming and how to prepare. Our full moon takes place at the 5th degree of Virgo here. Highlight that for you with a trine to Aries and Capricorn, and that series is pretty conjunct Pholus. And we also have an opposition to Mercury, Saturn, and the Sun in Pisces over here. Here's Mercury, here's Saturn, and here's the Sun, all speaking to this full moon. We also have a trine here to Pholus and Capricorn. Oh, I said Pholus and Capricorn already with Ceres and trine to Jupiter. Here's our friend Jupiter in Taurus. And a loose conjunction to Juno here in Virgo. So, whoa, this is a lot of information, a lot to break down. It sums up very neatly and tidily into a singular theme around building foundation and releasing what doesn't serve us at this full moon. I mean, that's Virgo, neat and tidy. If ever there was a sign that is neat and tidy, it's Virgo. And that grand trine here between Ceres, which represents cycles and seasons, closings and openings, Jupiter, which is expansion here from the sign that's desire and sensuality and stability, and the moon here in Virgo, which is all about really putting order into our lives. It's a very interesting energy. So that gives us the grand Earth trine with Ceres and Pholus, Jupiter, and the moon. And we also, I'll highlight it in a different color so you can see it. We have a bit of a T-square here with Pallas speaking to this new moon. And here's the sun, which is conjunct that Mercury and Saturn. And Pallas there in Sagittarius is our fulcrum point for this T-square. I gotta be honest, I'm always grateful to see Saturn bring some stability to stuff, but never more grateful than I've been at this lunation because it's bringing a lot of balance given his opposition to the full moon. The T square energy I highlighted in yellow is going to highlight for us where the emotional needs of our lives feel like they're at odds with the structures of our lives. That T square is going to reveal some truth that can serve us while we release behaviors and patterns and routines, that's Virgo, that don't serve us, that will be revealed by the grand earth trine that I highlighted in blue with Pholus, the moon, and Jupiter in series there. The opposition from Saturn opens up a very sobering influence that's going to allow us to get more spiritually grounded. Hooray! In truth, through this season of great change and upheaval as Pluto lands in Aquarius, which I spent a lot of time talking about recently in a Pluto in Aquarius update for all 12 signs. If you missed it, it's in the live section of this channel, and it's also in the Lightworker Energy Update playlist. This Saturn energy is also going to allow us to stay grounded as Jupiter inches closer and closer to Uranus, and we will all be swinging from the chandeliers with that very exciting energy, and opens up quantum movement in our lives. You guys are probably already feeling there's like an expedited pace at which life is unfolding, and a lot of synchronicities and coincidences that are not actually coincidence. So we're going to talk about that when we get to that portion of this lunar update. But for now, know that it's Saturn that's really helping us stay grounded here, and Saturn's conversation with Jupiter in the mix as well. Jupiter's influence on this new moon here is opening up our faith. It is opening up our capacity for hope and optimisms that if we can make the correct adjustments at this time, we're going to be on track to creating the desires of our hearts. It elevates the entire vibe of this full moon to one where we can see out on the horizon hope. It's kind of like dawn. And we also need to be really intentional. Just because we know the sun is going to rise doesn't mean we need to do nothing. There's still work to be done. Full moons mark culminations and completions, and what we're being invited to close are habits, Virgo, routines, Virgo, behaviors, third dimension, action, and choices that are undermining where we say we want to go. And that's that Pholus piece. It's closing out that series, things that have been toxic and undermine where we want to go. Pholus is the toxicity piece. What we're being invited to close, oh, I said that part already, because Mercury is playing a starring role. Here's Mercury here, opposite the full moon as well, that second degree of Pisces. Because Mercury is playing a starring role, and the T square points to Mercury's sign. So if you've been with me for any length of time, you know that I'll always tell you when we have a T square, meaning occupation by a planet or a luminary in 3 of the 4 modes. The 4th mode that has no occupation, that's the one that's conspicuous in its omission. And the solution to balancing the T squares tension is in our behavioral occupation of that sign. And that sign is Gemini. So communication, taking things step by step, trying out new things, making adjustments, exploration. That T square is letting us know that consciousness and that exploring new ways of doing things can serve us very well, and that it's going to be key to how we harness this full moon in Virgo's energy for the benefit of our lives. This is a perfect time for dotting I's, crossing T's, putting periods on sentences, tying up loose ends, solidifying the closing of old timelines. whatever you had going on that you know is out of alignment, you know it's out of integrity with what you want to have going on and what you're creating next in your next chapter or season. If that thing has been going on and it's been being propped up by something emotional, there's the moon, that no longer serves you, Saturn's role here, which is all about integrity, is going to call you out. It's going to bring us into clarity. That's going to be the Mercury piece. And then closure. That's going to be the Saturnian piece. And the emotional pattern has allowed us to participate in whatever the toxicity is that hasn't served us, that emotional pattern will get exposed, especially, like I said, because of Pholus and Ceres's influence on this particular full moon. There's just no way to not see it. Virgo is just way too conscious. Mercury is way too prominent. Thank goodness Saturn's balancing it out. It's sobering. It's a very grounding and sobering full moon in Virgo. And I like that because some of these full moons can really have us kind of hyped up and geeked up on our own emotions, but not this full moon. This full moon, we're going to be able to see some stuff really clearly. Now, as I said, full moons on their own mark completions and culminations of processes, but Ceres is a luminary body, and here's Ceres again, in case you missed it, who also represents cycles and seasons. So, with her in conversation with this full moon, it highlights this full moon's capacity to close out a cycle in our lives. Pholus's influence marks the cycle as one that has been harmful or toxic to us, causing us to sacrifice life force in the future to hold up that cycle in the now. So, for all of us, this will be about life in general. You know, some of you are going to see this really play out with regard to your finances. It'll play out with regard to your health. It's going to play out with regard to your kids or to your work. For some of you, it's going to play out with regard to relationships as well. For all of us, relationships are going to be a sticking point in some kind of way because of the proximity of Juno, the wife of the zodiac, and Jupiter, the husband of the zodiac, both of them speaking to this full moon. So relationships and whatever our patterns and traits are in relationship are going to get, exposed if they're not working. Your relationship to everything else in life may be fine. You may have already created some stability with money, with health, with your living situation, with your family. You're being asked to look at the next level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and really deal with, all right, how do I have next level love in my life? Whatever next level is for you. This is because Juno's influence reveals that this cycle closing and foundation cleanup is linked to, and back to Virgo, where she sits, our behaviors, habits, patterns, and routines in relationship as well, where we have undermined our capacity or ability to have constructive relationships is going to be in our face at this time. So if you've been scratching your head about repeating patterns in connection, or you're wondering how you end up in the same place repeatedly with people or the same person in a different body, this full moon can reveal the truth in a very sobering way or clean up any cycles that have prevented you from facing connection in very sober ways. So if you've repeatedly been tripped up by family issues or consistently shut down or run from emotions, yours or other people's, or consistently given yourself up and lose yourself in relationship to your emotions or other people's emotions, or if you never bend or flex and you constantly find yourself trying to fix other people and then those people walking away because they just don't want to be fixed. Whatever the pattern is that you've clung to for safety or looped and repeated that has created disappointment, you're going to start to get conscious, Thank you, Mercury. Thank you, Gemini. Revelation. Thank you, Pisces, where the sun and Mercury are resting. You're going to start to get some conscious revelation about this, given Mercury's influence at this full moon and Gemini's answer from that T square. Now, because the husband and wife of the zodiac are both speaking to this full moon, Jupiter and Juno, it opens up a critical turning point in connections from a very personal perspective, right? Sometimes I mention that there's like great times for communication with other people, and then there's like great times for inner work. This is a little bit of a both and you're really going to have to use your inner guidance, your intuition. You can also talk to me if you need a reading and some coaching around which it's going to be for you. The question on the table is, will we do the thing we know we've needed to do to make space for a higher level of love, connection, and commitment? At this time, with this particular full moon, there's no escaping that we're going to see whatever it is, the thing is that we need to do. It's going to be obvious, but doing it, that part's going to be up to us. The gift of Virgo energy is that it will empower us to do the uncomfortable thing because it's the right thing. It's what will serve us. And so I really love that about Virgo energy. Sometimes Virgos get a bad rap. Gemini too, Pisces too, all of the mutable signs can get a bad rap for different reasons. Every sign has its own bad rap. And it's good, it's light side. They're all neutral on their own. But the light side of Virgo is that it does have the impetus to serve. It wants to know what's the priority and how do I go about delivering on it. So, because this is so communication and consciousness heavy, this could be about communication for some people, right? Um, but I like, let me be specific. You could have a very necessary talk with a love connection or a boss or an employee at this time, and things could go exceedingly and extraordinarily well. There's wonderful communication energy available under the light of this particular full moon. There is a caveat that comes with it because of Saturn's influence and because of what Virgo represents. Communication without ownership of and personal accountability and responsibility around what you may have brought to the table that allowed things to be at the level that they are at, if that level has proven to facilitate breakdown for you and another person. You're about to lose your job and you need to fight for it. Your spouse is about to break up with you. You don't want to break up. You and your child are in the middle of a rift and you want to bring things back together. If you're the party that's looking to mend or to keep things together, because of Saturn's influence, because of what Virgo represents, trying to have the mending conversation without an accountability component is not going to go very well. Oh, thank you, Virgo. Thank you, Saturn. It's going to be very important that we take ownership of how our actions and our behaviors have contributed to the current state of affairs as part of the conversation. So you want to stay in your apartment, your landlord's about to kick you out, right? The thing to do here isn't to point out all the stuff that they've done wrong as landlords. The thing to do here is to take some ownership about when and how you communicated about what you needed, why you may have withheld rent or not paid it, or what it is that you brought to the party. That's actually going to help things go a lot smoother in the conversation. Landlord still may have been in the wrong, but what's going to actually ground, anchor, stabilize, and open doors with this full moon isn't blame, it's ownership. Okay. So keep that in mind, right? Let's get back together. I love you won't quite be enough at this full moon. You're going to have to come with some deeper level recognition of your part in the dance even if you're the one that's always owning it, even if you're the one that is always taking the lead on that conversation, being the role model in that conversation, doesn't matter. This full moon still requires it if that is something you're looking to do. And the conversation that you want to have is one that has to do with mending fences. Now, other kinds of conversations could certainly happen here, right? Perfect full moon for business negotiation and arrangements, closing deals, shoring up contracts. Wonderful full moon for all of that. I really like that there's opportunity here to strike out on new projects and new ventures in a very grounded way where everyone's clear. This is my responsibility. This is your responsibility. Let's get to work, right? Great opportunity for finalizing, prenups or divorces or any kind of legal contracts. Wonderful place to be for this. Okay. If you need some help figuring out your pattern, or more importantly, figuring out how to overcome your pattern so that you can have a constructive conversation and actually know what to do instead of your old pattern, now is the time for you to get on my calendar and book a reading because this is my specialty. If you tell me the pattern, I can tell you the root in your chart, whether it's a shadow side of your moon, an issue with your Saturn, a problem with the ruling planet or sign of your seventh house, a challenge with your Venus or your Mercury. If you tell me what the pattern is, I can very quickly see, okay, it's this, this, and this. This is how you clean it up. This is how you get to the light side. It's not Chiron for you. It's a Mars or a Pluto thing, right? I can share with you how to get to the light side of any shadowed pattern that you're experiencing in your life. And this way, you'll have the path to break free once and for all. You can find me over at kmoonastro.com if you want a book now. There is a link before this video. Now, the reason why I stress that now is so important is because we have these major energies unfolding in the next 60 to 90 days. Cleaning stuff up now will ensure that as these new timeline jumps open, the closer Jupiter gets to Uranus, and we're already in a timeline jump era, you are not jumping with unconscious strings linking you to old patterns. You want to get out of those patterns in the now time so that you can jump onto a new timeline without those. Now, for some, if your mental and emotional wellness and moods have become a problem in connection or a problem in your life in general, that will be highlighted as your next step at this full moon, as our physical health is linked to Virgo, where the full moon sits. That's physical health, that's Virgo. And our mental health is linked to Pisces, and that's where the sun, the luminary that's illuminating the moon, is resting. Cracks in the foundation will be highlighted so we can take action. Now, for some of us, physical health can be a hindrance to accomplishing life goals and career or deepening connection. If that's the case, that's going to be highlighted. Issues with body image or self-esteem or the way your physical health is performing, like physical energy or life force or your sexual health. These kinds of things, if these are a problem, they're going to be revealed to you in this time frame so that you know what has to happen foundationally in order for you to get to the next step. Now, whether it's physical health or mental health, you'll either get revelation or find conversations about your foundation for your life and health happen now so you can solidify those things at this time so that you're prepared for what's coming in the next several months. Now, for some, it may not even be about physical health. It may be about financial health or service to the world. In this case, know that this is coming up at this time, at this lunation, because there are solutions available now that may not have been available before. Okay. So if you feel like you're hearing this, internally you're going, but K Moon, I tried. to get XYZ together before. I tried to get a job. I tried to get clients, but there was no support, no open doors, no solutions. I need you to just take a deep breath. That was then. This is now. And there are solutions and open pathways available now. So if the issue is presenting, especially because anything that has been persistent, chronic, habitual, Virgo, it's because there are new solutions available now, new doors open now, and new behaviors required of us now to get new timelines now. I cannot stress how important now is for us. It is so critical that we do not delay on what has to be done. Again, gotta love that Virgo energy. Virgos do not believe in procrastination if they can help it. Now, for some, this full moon in Virgo will mark the completion of a journey with either pet familiars or extended family who transition. Again, there is divine purpose in their departure if it's happening now. Their assistance from the other side and departure from this realm is opening up space for what's to come in your life and for them to provide some spiritual guidance to your higher self that your human self may not have been able to receive from them had they stayed in the realm of form. So if there is a transition, I'm not saying everyone's going to have one, then I wish you and your loved ones well. While transitions aren't always easy, there is room here for connection in the spirit realm with so much going on in Pisces and a full moon in Pisces coming up in 2 weeks' time, or a new moon in Pisces coming up in 2 weeks' time. And that spirit to spirit connection can assist you in understanding their messages for you and their departure from your life at this time. The last interpretation I'm seeing for this full moon is a shifting in power dynamics and roles in your work situation and the people you serve and the people who service you, since Virgo represents or governs those imbalanced power dynamics. People who work above or below you may exit or change roles. This includes bosses and supervisors. It also includes your direct reports or team members, people you hire in your private life as well, your therapist, personal trainer, housekeeper, assistant, mechanic. There may be a change with regard to one of these roles in your life. And as I mentioned, there could be a lot of conversation and communication around this change given Mercury's influence at this time. So, if there is a change, understand it is for the assistance of solidifying a mutually beneficial foundation at this time for you and that other person in those other roles in your life. Okay. If any of this resonates, definitely let me know in the comments. I love to see, what's going on in your lives there in the comments. And if you know you need support figuring out your next step when it comes to your foundation for your life, and you're seeing these changes unfold and simultaneously seeing this kind of synchronistic, rapid manifestation energy happen right alongside it, which I mentioned we're going to talk about momentarily, then we should talk because these changes are happening now in your life. They are the sign that something much bigger is about to unfold for you in the next 6 to 12 months, especially in the next 60 to 90 days, which I have said repeatedly on this channel and in this particular update. The next 60 to 90 days are critical. They are going to change our lives. Knowing what to expect and how to navigate it before it happens can keep your life moving in the direction of your goals and keep things on track. There are sessions available in my calendar now over at kmoonastro.com. Now, 60 minutes is great if you know you already have cues and you want a full overview of the next 6 to 12 months. But if you only want that overview, we can cover the major touch points in just 30 minutes. So feel free to book what's best for you. I know next week, there are maybe 2 or 3 30-minute sessions still available. So we can have a look at the eclipses in your life, Pluto and Aquarius in your life, the major conjunction that's once in a lifetime of Jupiter and Uranus and how that's going to impact your life, and anything else that's major that's going to be very specific to you. The link to book is right below this video. Now, this full moon is going to be filled with revelation and opportunities to create greater alignment for all signs. The signs that are going to be most impacted by this full moon's energies are those with sun, moon, rising, or a stellium in Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, Gemini, Aquarius, Taurus, and Capricorn. All right. Let's have a look at some of the other supporting energies for this lunation. Just make a note here. All right, so we have Mercury conjunct the sun in Pisces, as I mentioned, with a square to Pallas in Sagittarius. So here's Mercury, here's the sun. I'd say it's conjunct Saturn, but it's a little too far away from a degree perspective for Saturn to be a full influence on Mercury, but it's definitely influencing to some degree. And here's Pallas with that square. I want to cover this separately and independently of the T square. This is opening up some of the best energy, like I said, for communication that we've had so far this year. If you've got something you need to say, something you need to get off your chest, or you need to have an open and honest dialogue with someone about anything, now is one of the best times. I really want to be clear about something that I said earlier. Now, just because the planets support good conversation doesn't mean you'll have a good conversation if the conversation is happening before both people are ready. The planets can be ready to deliver something that we are not yet ready to have. And I bring this up because I ran into a conversation this week with one of my clients where one party in the connection was very clear. Look, I don't want anything else. Friendship is great for me. Case closed, conversation over. But the other party in the connection had a whole lot of other things to say, a lot of other things that what they wanted to say was basically like, look, we're going to be good together. If you just figure these things out, like, I'm here for you. I can help you figure it out. We should get together. One of the things I love about this setup for conversation is that the moon is in Virgo, which is going to really support both people being very rational in the moment. And I also love that Saturn is part of the mix here on the Pisces side. This is going to help us lead with our own wholeness, our own integrity, and our own accountability. While Mercury and Sun are in Pisces, this is going to support both people being able to use their intuition and remain open-minded in the conversation. A lot of creative ideas can come with this. But if you've already been told, here's where I stand on a thing, a new conversation may not necessarily open those doors with someone. So be sure you're paying attention to where other people are at when you bring conversation to them. And also, as I said much earlier, if there's stuff for you to be accountable for, be sure you bring that to the table as the door opener. For everyone who is refining or performing arts, specifically the verbal arts, writing scripts, lyrics, prose, poetry, creating music or song, and creating in the realm of verbal visual arts, those who are mediumistic or channels, all of you are going to get a boost from this energy as well. And you may notice your psychic phenomena and your dream state begin to present messages about relationship foundations. So if you've been in a connection, let's say, that has lacked foundation, and know that not just one party, but both parties are ready for that conversation, now's a great time to ask for what you need. Ask the other person what they would need in order to consider moving forward with you. this kind of thing can go really well now. If you're a collaborator on any of these arts kind of projects, this is a fabulous time to work together. Writing books as well. Great time for two people to work together on that kind of thing. And again, like I said, just because the planets are aligned for it doesn't always mean it's time. Um, or that you're ready or the other person is ready. You may get a lot of revelation, but implementation uh, will of what the revelation is may happen at another time. Alternatively, you may get revelation about what you personally need to do, but sometimes the proof is in the pudding, and a Virgo full moon is one of those moments. Sometimes, if you know you need to change and you got the aha about it, the other person being able to see that change before you ask for the second chance would probably really be a good idea with this particular full moon. Use your intuition about your situation to make sure whatever you're going to do in the world of communication or creativity is aligned for you. Check with other people if they're ready to have a conversation about foundation with you. Pallas's energy from the square here can add an element of defensiveness if rehashing the past comes up. So keep that in mind. Pallas is in the sign that focuses on the future, and that's where you want to keep the conversation going. Okay. So that's that energy. Let's have a conversation about Venus conjunct Chariklo and Mars in Aquarius. Let me point that out. Let me clear this up. Here is Venus. Here is Mars. Woohoo! They're having a good time there together in Aquarius. And here is Chariklo right next to them, adding to the party with all of her blessings energy. We also have a square to Jupiter in Taurus. We also have a trine to the shaman's asteroid in Libra. Here we go. Blinkety blink, blink, blink. Blink, blink. Now, y'all, this is hot, 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 and some more hot. Whenever Mars and Venus get together, there's some passion, there are sparks, there is chemistry. And in this particular instance, divine intercession and lessons already learned collide to bring relationships together in new ways, to spark new relationships and collaborations, to open minds and hearts, and in some cases, legs and beds. So, to new ways of working together. Under this influence, couples and collaborators who are already together, working together, you may find that you're exploring new things together with regard to your passions, whether it's like social activism kind of passion or something more physically intimate. In this energy, we have the divine intercessor pulling for us, and there she is, Chariklo, and supporting new directions and new ideas and new collaborations and new ways of collaborating. There is an integrating of everything that was so that its lessons are a springboard for our next level, and a sense that some of the lessons are well and truly over and a new beginning is arriving. So if you and someone from your past have been guided back together in the energies of 2024, which I have to say, after looking at the eclipses that are coming in the fall and a lot of this Juno retrograde, she's the wife, she's looking backwards at this time, all the way through June. Well, technically April, she comes out of shadow in June. 2024 is a heavily ex-returny, past focused, hey, maybe we had something good, let's try it again kind of year. And like I said, it's going to be even more so in the second eclipse season in the fall. if you and someone from the past have been guided back together, it's really important, like super duper uber important, to be able to give each other a clean slate. Start from scratch. And I'm going to say something extraordinarily confronting. You're going to have to start as if the past did not happen. They are new, you be new. Look for new, expect new, leave the past in the past. Now, I'm not saying sweep stuff under the rug, but I am saying if it's done, y'all have already talked about it and it's over, let it be done. This energy is not the most stable in Aquarius. I'm not seeing a lot of commitment energy here that goes with it yet, but it is very passionate. And if you can stay in the newness of this, there are some ways that this can really blossom in the fullness of time. Okay. So let's talk about Jupiter in forming conjunction with Uranus and Taurus. Now, this is the big one. It's the loosest energy here, but I want to say this is the energy that's about to color all energies as like, like when you add, if somebody cooked something and they add garlic to it, it flavors the entire dish. Or if they add like lemon zest, it flavors the entire dish. This is Jupiter and Uranus beginning to form their conjunction. It flavors or colors the entirety of everything else that's about to happen next. And there's already been some potent energies that are showing up, like Pluto and Neptune and sextile. That flavors the dish and it's changing the entire scope of our physical world at the moment, right? We've already had some of these. This is the next layer of something that colors the entire dish. Whether you love or hate garlic, Jupiter and Uranus are conjuncting regardless. They are in the dish. You can't leave it out of the dish. Now, I can't overstress this. We have entered a portal of rapid, and I mean capital R, capital A, capital P, capital I, capital B manifestation of thoughts and belief systems with Jupiter, which governs belief systems, within 10 degrees of Uranus, which is like the hand of divine intervention, like God within us, our creatorship, forcing change in our lives, making change in our third dimensional world because it's in the third dimensional sign of Taurus. Have you noticed, you guys, an increase in coincidences in your life or an uptick in synchronicity, or that you're just more in the flow, like you're just more in the right place at the right time? You guys got to let me know in the comments. But here's the thing about this specific portal, which is open through the end of May. You could have been wanting and hoping for a marriage, a certain job, a particular scholarship, or a business opportunity for decades. But the person who's going to get it is the person who has some mental control in this energy. The ability to think it without undermining it with doubt, criticism of people who have it, negative self-talk, etc. This is going to be necessary in order to operate the manifestation capacity here. Optimism with Jupiter in the mix is going to be your secret weapon. Now, we're going to get more into this on this channel, but I want to make sure you understand how powerful your thoughts and words are always, and especially now, where we put our attention and choose to focus with our mind is going to amplify. So please, 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 please amplify what you want to see, feel, and experience, especially with the people in your lives. A technique that I've learned is that in a sea of mixed memories and energies with someone, both good experiences and experiences that I've enjoyed less. Look, if I can stay trained and focused on the good memories only, those do expand into now time experiences that I've actually seen people's almost like personalities and behaviors change within months of this focused activity, sometimes frankly, minutes. I've actually seen it happen in minutes. Now, I know what I just said sounds absolutely crazy, so I'm going to give you an experiment and some homework. Try what I just said for yourself. Now, in stage one of this activity, if you're conscious and capable of observing your own mind, you're going to see the ways that you reinforce who they were in the negative by only seeing them through that lens. You're going to start to notice, dang, I keep focusing on what I don't want. It's going to take practice to pull your brain back to the good memories and keep your mind there. But after a while, I promise you it's going to get easier. And you will be shocked at how the way you think about and observe people changes the way they render in your third dimensional reality. So, little thought experiment you can try on. I've been thinking about running Manifestation Mastery again. I did that workshop last spring on manifestation because we had a lot of crazy manifestation energy last year. We've got more this year. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you want a workshop like that or if you want to retake it. I've got some new stuff I'm thinking about sharing and adding to it about timelines and controlling timelines. Um, and I want to help you take advantage of this energy. But if you prefer just like a special broadcast, not a separate workshop where I just get more high level details, like the one I did for Pluto for all 12 signs, then we can do that too. I don't know. Let me know what you're thinking. Okay. Moving on, uh, there is an energy of Vesta and Gemini, which is square Neptune in Pisces. So let me break that down. Here's Vesta in Gemini. Here's Neptune in Pisces. Now, this is an energy of loosening commitments and dissolving resolve and dedication, which frankly, at this particular new moon, I think is going to be a positive thing. At the same time, this Vesta, which represents the dedication, and Neptune, which represents loosening, erasing, dissolving. These two are coming together at the same time that there's an energy of solidifying foundation in our lives. At a full moon that's representing completions, while Juno is retrograde, so not giving her fullest relationship commitment energy, right? She's retrograde over here. This is actually really going to help us because we can harness this, like I said, to look at what are our thought patterns where Vesta is in Gemini. Gemini is all about thinking and communication that maybe aren't serving us and that we've been committed to. They've been habitualized, routines. We've been dedicated to talking, speaking, thinking this way. Neptune's going to clean it up and start to take some of that out of our mouth. It's going to start to call us out and say, why don't you forget what you were just about to say? How about you not finish that thought? Um, any kind of way we've been, like I said earlier, undermining our own foundation. These are planetary invitations to move out of what's misaligned so we can move into alignment with some speed and begin to see some new possibilities. Okay. Lastly, but not leastly, before we get into uh, our what do we call that? First look. Lastly, but not leastly, before we get into our first look, we have Chiron conjunct the North Node in Aries. And this is a major theme of this first part of the year. Here are the two of them together. This is an energy we'll talk more about in a separate video as well, but this placement is opening up older wounding for all of us collectively for transmutation into leadership. If there are crises of confidence unfolding at this time or self-doubts about your ability or your ambitions and how achievable they are, this is all par for the course when Chiron's conjunct the North Node. Underneath these crises of confidence or older woundings that are opening up at this time or self-doubts, underneath that, this is an opportunity to take action steps to build our self-esteem and identity in dedication to our ambitions. There's also a chance to accept the ways that we're different and unique. That's Chiron's story about difference and uniqueness, and see those as our strength rather than our weakness. Now, ultimately, this is about learning how to be more of ourselves rather than hiding ourselves because we feel like we're less. More about embracing who we are rather than trying to edit or shrink back. Like I said, we're going to get into great detail soon, but for now, if you're feeling sensitive, know that you're not alone. And whatever you're feeling sensitive about is not only your Achilles heel, it's also your superpower once you know how to use it. And inside of a personal reading, we can take a look at your particular Chiron wound. We can also take a look at how this energy is impacting you in your chart and the right steps to being able to embrace that Achilles heel so that it's no longer a problem for you. Okay. You can find me over at K Moon Astro. Definitely hit the like button if something here has resonated for you. If you want to leave a comment about synchronicities happening in your life, or whether or not you want to do manifestation mastery with me, again, that workshop, or just how this is impacting you. I love looking at you guys' comments. I don't get to respond to them all, but I certainly see them all. As long as YouTube hasn't, deleted them, YouTube will automatically delete a lot of negativity. So sorry if you were thinking about being rude. YouTube just deletes that. But yeah, that stuff is all available for you reading at K Moon Astro and community in the comment section below. Would love to hear from you. Let's have a look at the new moon in Pisces. Let me pull that up for us. Share screen, new moon in Pisces. Let's open this chart out and timestamp it. This new moon, let's see. Promise I'll get slicker about that. So you guys aren't like, why is she pausing so long? It's because I'm literally trying to timestamp it while I record it so that I don't have to go back and re-listen to myself for an hour. Okay, so here is our Virgo full moon. Sorry, the new moon in Pisces taking place on March 10th at 5 a.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, ooh, a lot of fixed water. We have some fixed energy and we got a lot of water energy. Let's see what's going on. First time looking at it, here's my first impression. Here is our new moon in Pisces. This new moon in Pisces, speaking with Nessus. And let's see who else. 20th degree of Pisces. Okay, opposite Lilith and square Vesta and sextile Jupiter Uranus. Okay, this will be interesting. When I'm looking at this, the first thing that kind of comes up in my mind is that some of the themes that have opened up at the Virgo full moon actually carry into the Pisces new moon in terms of helping us set a new course, chart a new path for what we want when it comes to our lives. This one is less relationship focused. So a little bit of relationship vibes to it. We definitely have Jupiter and Juno, husband and wife, in communication once again. They stay in communication through the end of March. However, what's interesting about this is that we have more Uranian focus, and we've got another great T square from Vesta and this time Lilith. We also have Nessus in the mix with this full moon. The combo here speaks to a lot of self-dedication, a lot of personal commitment, a lot of kind of personal kind of like, okay, I know what I need to do. I'm about to double down and do it. With T squares, there's always tension. Like I said in the beginning of this lunar update for the Virgo full moon. Answer is always in the sign that's unoccupied. We have an unoccupied Sagittarius, which is about truth. It's about our faith, our hope, our wishes, and our dreams. And so this combo is really talking about leaning into the truth at the heart of a thing and our faith and our hope around facilitating what's next. Now, for some of you, this new moon in Pisces is going to be a time where there's some overseas travel that you're trying to accomplish or get done. It could be sudden because of Uranus's influence that you're called out of the country or across a great distance. You may also see that some of you need to do some writing in order to be able to capture your thoughts and ideas and really capitalize on the information that opened up at the Virgo full moon, because it won't all be implementable at the same time. You will need to write some things down and be strategic about the accomplishment of the goals. Okay. I'm really glad we got to do this, you guys. I love having you here. Thank you so much for the ways you guys share the content and liking and subscribing. I also really love how positive and supportive you are to one another and about yourselves here in the comment section on my channel. I do feel like I've been blessed to have some of the most kind subscribers here on my channel. There's a lot of times, I'll hear, my fellow compatriots as YouTubers tell me, damn, like comment section is like the Wild West. People are so rude. And I just don't encounter a lot of that. Thanks to some of my filters, thanks to this community. And I just love how uplifting you guys are. And I wanted to make sure I said that for you, because I know sometimes it takes a level of personal restraint to not be rude when you see people being rude. And I also want to thank the moderators who do a great job cleaning up rudeness when you see it. I really appreciate that in the comment section. You guys are awesome. I'm going to go do the twin flame video now for divine counterparts. I've already kind of scripted it out. Kind of. I script it verbatim. One thing that I'll say to you guys who happen to still be listening at the very end is that if relationships are something of import to you and something you'd like to see movement on in 2024, I don't, in fact, I've never said this in any of my light worker energy updates, but this particular update I'm about to do for twin flames will be good for you. Uh, in it, I've got some information that will serve as a part two and a deepening to the conversation that we just had about revelations, about what doesn't serve us and how to release those things. And I'm going to get into some tools and where to look for support in that lunar update. So if relationships has really been a sore or sticking point, regardless of whether or not you identify as a twin flame, divine counterpart, soulmate, yada, 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 please have a listen to that video for resources and support and to know where to look for challenges that you can clean up in your foundation in your love life. Thanks so much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting. I'll see you guys at the next update. Take great care. Bye for now.